Caliente.
Hey.
Ready for good.
Okay, and action.
All right, so you made an interesting point when you talked about buying and selling versus buying and holding. From my experience and just listening to people talk and trying to educate myself, both can be pretty lucrative. Do you feel like there's one that maybe outweighs the other when it comes to like if you're trying to really like make money and hit that $1 million status?
Definitely. If you're trying to hit $1 million status, buying and holding is definitely probably not the route for you.
Okay.
I don't do real estate the traditional way. Me personally, when I'm buying real estate, I'm buying real estate to build capital.
Okay.
I'm buying real estate to build capital. Why? Because I'm eventually trying to get into a bigger investment, which is apartment buildings, which I'm doing now.
They call me triplexes.
Triplexes and things of that nature.
Yeah. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to Level Up. I'm your host, OC, and today we are joined by Melik Monal.
How you guys doing? My name is Mr. Malik Monal. And I'm telling you guys, Mr.I Teach things that you can't Google.
All right, so let's get into it then.
Definitely.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like backstory?
Backstory, man. Born and raised in Belgrade, Florida, for you guys that don't know.
Where is that?
It's west of West Palm Beach.
Okay.
You know, a very small town, nothing more than probably like 12 or 13,000 people population-wise.
Okay.
And great area, I mean, but very poverty-restricted.
Okay, yeah, understood.
High crime rate, you know, but, you know, it was a place that I actually enjoyed and I'm growing up in because, you know, both my mother and father are from Haiti.
Yeah,
And they were migrant workers coming from Haiti. So my lifestyle was a little different growing up. You know, I wasn't fortunate like a lot of people, but in the sense of that, but I took advantage of the opportunity that was given to me and things of that nature. I made the best of my opportunities.
So that's all we can do, right?
So we can definitely, man,
Just take
definitely.
what we were given and then, you know, grow it from there.
Definitely. So, but no, definitely, you know, growing up in the poverty-stricken area, it was very difficult for me, man, growing up in, only we're out of our systematic country that we do live in, and out of Belgrade, it was either sports for me. So I actually, you know, I was partaking in football.
Football?
Football was it for me.
That's what they train us to think, football or basketball.
Football or basketball, you know.
Yeah.
Stigmatism. I was that guy, you know, I'm going to play football, I'm going to get out here, I'm going to make a better life and go off to college.
Yeah.
Like my mother and things of that nature, and that was the goal for me.
Was that what you wanted to do?
That's what I wanted to do, because, you know, I was a mother's boy, you know, mama's boy, I know I wanted to take care of my mother, you know. My father was taken from me at a young age as well, so it was kind of difficult for me growing up. So my only thing was, I want to go off to school, become a professional football player, and take care of my mother. You know, that was it. That was all I wanted to do, you know. Things kind of took a left turn for me, you know, and football, I actually got injured.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I couldn't play football anymore. That was in high school, my junior year of high school. I couldn't play football anymore, and so I partook in, I actually ran the track.
Oh, okay, I ran
You know.
track.
Yeah, you ran track?
Yeah, a little something.
Little something, you know, still got the rank, yeah. So
Okay.
definitely, so I ran track, man, because I actually fractured my hip, and I couldn't do any contact sport. So I actually started running track, and it was good for me. I mean, I only ran track 1 year of high school and actually received 27 scholarships.
Wow.
Which
So
was amazing.
So let me ask you, because I know oftentimes when you're in the sports world, right, when you get hurt, it's kind of like, for some it can be very devastating, especially to get back on the field or any field. So did you find it like therapeutic that you were able to find another sport that you can really kind of give your all?
Very much so. I was devastated when I couldn't play football. Football was life.
Yeah.
So finding another sport was one of those things. Like I was very hesitant about doing anything else because football was all I knew. But it was more so of a mindset, you know, entering into that atmosphere. Okay, I had to do something to get out of my situation.
Yeah.
And track was it, and that's just what it was. You know, I said, you know what, I'm gonna get myself and calm myself down, and track is what it's gonna be.
Wow.
Definitely, man. So it was a transition for me, but like anything, you know, a transition is something you either can equip with it or you just can't. That is what it is.
So what was next after track?
Track. So after track, man, I went off to school, of course. Graduated from high school, went out to school. I actually went to Middle Tennessee State University.
Yeah, what'd you major in?
I majored in business administration first.
Nice.
Business administration. I
First,
started off
okay.
first. And actually business administration. After that, you know, I actually went to Middle Tennessee and I actually, I'm so sure I got kicked out of the school. Oh man, it was terrible. The thing about it was, to shorten this up, you know, I just came from like I said, my background is very happy.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I met aggression with aggression.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't very friendly, and everyone that spoke to me, because I spoke with an accent, everyone that spoke to me, I thought they were, like, they spoke to me, they could say, oh, you have an accent, they'll say anything of that nature. I was like, man, I thought they was picking on me, whatever the case may be. So every time someone says to me, hey, man, you sound funny, I can't understand what you're saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
first thing I'm saying, like, oh, what do you mean you can't understand what I'm saying?
It was rough.
It was rough. So, you know, long story short, I met aggression with aggression.
I
You know,
get
we
it.
get the book. So, ended up getting kicked out of school, and that was it for me. I just found myself coming back home to Florida, man, and working at Lowe's.
Okay.
You know, I started working at Lowe's.
They
So,
didn't hire me.
so I was working at Lowe's, and I was like, oh man, my sister, God, thank God for her. Because,
Yeah.
you know, at this time, you know, my sister was my angel at this time, because, you know, I started living with her, and every day she would tell me, you're not staying here. You have to go back to school.
So
You're
she
not
was
staying here."
putting that fire under your butt, like, you gotta do something.
I have to do something. You can't stay here and just work at Lowe's. You have to figure something out.
She
You
wanted
know,
better for you.
so definitely that's what she wanted for me. So I ended up, you know, leaving her, but I didn't go back to school. What I actually did, I actually went to New Jersey, Hamilton, New Jersey. I can never forget it, the blueberry capital. And I actually started picking blueberries.
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not,
Interesting.
I picked blueberries with these hands, and I have a love and hate relationship, and that's actually in my book. I have a love and hate relationship with blueberries. But I picked blueberries, and I just realized, man, at that time, this is not something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was very different when raising us. You know, no one agreed with her actually allowing her kids to pick blueberries, but I understood the message behind it. I understood it.
What do you think the message was?
It's basically, she doesn't want me here. I understand that's greater in this world than actually just picking blueberries. It was a very difficult, harsh thing to do, you know, in
I believe it.
scorching hot sun,
Yeah.
picking blueberries. It was difficult. So I understood that she was trying to teach me a lesson within itself. Hey, listen, there's better things you can do out here other than what you were doing
If you apply yourself.
if you apply yourself. And that's just what it was for me. And I just, from that point on, you know, I went off, and through the grace of God, I actually got a scholarship
Yeah.
from my coach. Oh God, I can't. Coach Byrne.
Shout out to him.
Coach Byrne, God. She gave me a chance, gave me a scholarship, a full ride. She gave me a scholarship, full ride, and never see me run.
Wow.
Never see me run. And I got a full ride, and I questioned myself. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go and make the best of this situation. So I moved to went back to Tennessee, East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, is where I got my first break and started running, and I just became a superstar there.
Yeah.
A big superstar, big track superstar there, and basically took over the whole school.
She had faith in you.
She did. I had a lot of faith in
She
me,
saw
and
something.
saw something that a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be ever indebted to her because of that. So
I'm sure she's proud of you.
very proud of me. She talks to me now each and every day. I love it, man. So I mean, from that point on, it's just been a walk in the park for me when transitioning from certain things. Like I said, I started running track, and I just became a superstar running track. And after graduating from college, you know, before I actually graduated, I got into accounting.
Oh, wow.
So I know it's accounting, so I actually graduated college as an accountant. So I graduated from college, and I found myself back here in Orlando. I came back to Orlando because my family wanted me to move closer to them from Florida. I mean, from Tennessee, so I moved
Which
back to
makes
Florida.
sense.
So I was like, okay, let me move back. I moved back to Florida, but I found myself doing what? College. I have a college degree,
Yeah.
and I found myself working at Nike. The
So
vibe
you
and the
backstepped a
outlet,
little
so I
bit.
backstep.
Yeah.
So here it was, man. Got with a college degree, found myself coming back to Orlando, and I'm working at an outlet store. Not to say it's working as an outlet store is a bad thing, but with a college degree, it just didn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It didn't make any sense. So I mean, I said to myself, you know, I did that for probably roughly a year. And the crazy story about that was, you know, every day I would go to work, and my feet would hurt so bad. Every day I would go to work, my feet would hurt so bad. And it's been one time I actually went to work, and it's a funny story. I actually went to work, and my feet was hurting so bad, I actually went into the commode. I went in the bathroom, and I sat down on the toilet. I'm like, man, you know what? This is just not for me. This is just not for me.
Yeah.
So I stood up and walked out of Nike.
Oh, so you walked
I
out.
just walked right out.
So that was your moment of
That was
truth.
my moment of truth, because I knew walking out of there, I could never come back.
Yeah, because there was a
I didn't give a 2 weeks notice, anything of that nature. So
They
I
were like,
knew.
he didn't tell us when he was leaving. He just
Definitely.
left.
So I got up and walked out, and I never turned back. And that was the basic breakthrough of me becoming a financial literacy guy. You know, I literally took it upon myself to educate myself on matters of finances. And And the first thing I did was started reading more. Because I started looking at a lot of people say, how do you get successful? Reading all those books, watching YouTube channels, how to become successful. How to become successful. They want knowledge. Knowledge is the key.
It is.
And I was a guy that didn't like to read. I hated to read. I grew up not reading at all.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I don't like reading. But they said, man, if you want to actually teach someone something, put it in the book. A lot of people actually won't find time to actually go pick up a book and read it.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. I created my own book. I wrote my own book, and they said 90% of people won't read that book. Statistics show 90% won't read it. So I was like, okay, well, I started reading. And the book that actually changed my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, I like that book.
It changed my life. And people wonder,
It's
and
eye-opening.
it's very eye-opening.
It is.
It was not only changed my life, it actually changed the mindset. It made me want to become a business owner, not only a business owner, an investor, more so about actually working a 9 to 5 or
Yeah.
basically. So it changed my life completely, and from that point on, I grew, and I started to actually build my own empire.
And I can tell, because now you're a man of many businesses.
Many of them. I love it, man. I love doing what I do. I take pride in what I do. A lot of people look at me and they'll tell me, hey man, you're so successful. And I'll tell people, not yet. And I'm like, how? Because I don't judge my success.
How do you measure success?
I measure success.
Success looks different for everybody. For
It
some
is.
people, it may be $1 million in a bank account. For some people, it may be my family's good, my bills are paid, I got the weekends off, I'm
Mhm.
good. That's success for me. So, like, how do you measure success?
Success for me is not measured on a dollar amount. Success for me is measured on how many people I can actually help.
Beautiful. Like that.
I've always been that type of individual. No matter how much millions of dollars I make, it's based on how many people can I put in position to do the same thing I'm doing, if not better. That's how I measure my success, and I always have.
That's big.
And, and that's why I got into the mentorship of, mentoring people and things of that nature, because I find pride in actually helping people. That's why it's like a high for me. Like when I help somebody, I can't get enough of it.
I respect
I
that.
can't get enough of it. Help you, it's a tingling feeling like someone coming to you, because of you, my life changed. Or
Yeah.
because of you, I was able to do this, and because of you, I was able to do that. So those are the things that actually drive me and push me to be doing what I'm doing right now.
So question, when it comes to like financial literacy,
Mhm.
and I know that, you aim to help and teach others, guide others through mentorship.
Yeah.
What do you feel like some of like the most important things that we maybe aren't taught growing up
Mhm.
that we should apply in our day-to-day lives to help us to get to that next level of financial freedom?
Definitely. So I'm going to say this again. I said it before. We live in a systematic country. From high, from kids, we're taught to wake up early, either go off to school or go off to work, whatever the case may be, and we get a break in between,
Yeah.
right? We go to lunch for 30 minutes,
30 minutes, clock back
right?
in.
Clock back in.
Mhm.
Since kids, we're taught to get up, go to school, get out of school. Now, as growing up, you become an adult, you go to work, take a lunch,
Mhm.
come back home, right? We're never taught, that's why they don't teach you how to actually make money or become successful in school.
Why do you think that is?
Because the thing about it, like I said before, we live in a systematic country. They want people, they're actually teaching people how to come out, work, and build the
Just to
economy.
follow the system that
Follow
they
the
put in
system
place.
and to build the economy.
Mhm.
That's it. Work to build the economy.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think about it, you have to have a certain amount of successful people, you have to have a certain amount of people that are less fortunate.
Just balances it out. You
Balance
need
it
a little
out.
bit of everything in order for the system to work.
Only way, so I've always told people, listen, man, if you're looking to obtain financial freedom or success or whatever the case may be, start to educate yourself on the matter of personal finances. You have to educate yourself. And one thing I always tell people I push for a lot is credit. See, a lot of people either are afraid of credit, because me growing up, credit was like the note, oh, you can't do credit.
That's what we're taught.
It's bad, debt is
Yeah.
bad, debt is bad.
Mhm.
But you have to understand, majority of millionaires and billionaires make their money off of debt. So people have to understand that, you leverage debt in order for you to actually make the money that you actually want to make.
How do you leverage that?
Simple. Debt is something like, how can I say this? I'll say this like this. You obtain a credit card, right? You obtain a credit card, and a lot of people, first thing I have, let's say for instance, you have a $25,000 credit card.
Okay.
A lot of people tell me, oh, I got $25,000, and I can go do what I want to do with it. I always tell people this: if you don't have the knowledge of leveraging money, don't apply for credit cards and things of that nature, because what you'll do is put yourself in more debt.
True.
Okay, so I always tell people, when you're actually obtaining a credit card, you use that credit card to actually create multiple streams of income,
Yeah.
okay?
That's,
Anything you use that credit for, well, you have to invest it,
mm-hmm.
okay? You have to, because you have to understand the money is not your money. And a lot of people ask me, well, why do you, right now, I was one of those individuals, I use cash for everything at one point in my life.
Yeah.
Cash
Guilty.
for everything. I use
Guilty.
cash for everything, everything. And I made a big transition of using credit. I don't remember the last time I actually used a debit card. I don't remember.
Hmm.
I don't use debit cards anymore. I use my credit cards like debit cards, because I have you have to be disciplined.
You do.
You have to be
Right.
very
You have to
disciplined.
make those monthly payments on time.
Definitely.
You gotta keep your balance at a certain
Because
level.
people ask me like, oh, Malik, well, what made you, transfer from cash to credit?
Yeah.
Simple. It was 3 things for me. You have the bank, they're gonna actually, you have one thing you have an endless amount of money. If you leverage credit properly, you'll have an endless amount of money.
Mhm.
Endless amount of capital, if you leverage correctly. You have to leverage it correctly. 2, the banks are gonna pay you to use their money
How so?
through rewards.
Mm-hmm.
For every dollar you use, we're gonna give you 3 points. Those points add up. They
Yeah.
add up. And they're gonna pay you to use their own money.
I've been learning more about that too.
Definitely. You
Yeah.
have to get into that, actually leveraging that. And 3 for me was always, I can use their credit to, like I said before, create multiple streams of income.
Yeah, exactly.
Example, I can actually go into, if I leverage my credit properly, let's say for instance I have a 740 credit score, right? 7 credit score. I can actually go into a dealership, obtain a vehicle with no money down. I'll take that same vehicle, and there's so many platforms that we have right now, that same vehicle, and I'll throw it on Turo, and I have a stream of income coming.
And somebody's renting it out.
Someone's renting it out now.
So you're getting paid on a day-to-day basis.
That's it.
So
And now you're paying back
Mm.
money that you actually bought.
Okay.
So there's so many different strategies that you can actually use to actually create multiple streams of income when using credit. And I actually pride myself in that because I use credit for everything. Everything. I tell you, everything I use credit for everything, from real estate to opening up businesses and things of that nature.
All right, so we talked about leveraging credit, and we were getting into different ways that you could leverage credit to create investments. We talked a little bit about Turo, but what are some other ways that you can use credit to kind of create multiple streams of income?
Oh, definitely. First and foremost, man, credit, like I said before, it should be your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And when leveraging credit, it comes easy when you know what you're doing.
Business credit, right? Not
Business-
personal credit?
Personal
or-
and business. You actually transition from personal to business because business is more volatile and it increases more and things of that
Oh,
nature.
okay.
So business credit is always the end route
Okay.
versus
I
leveraging
get it.
yourself. But you don't want to leverage yourself all day. You want to leverage your business credit.
Mhm.
But when it comes to credit, when it comes to real estate, is one of them.
So you can get into real estate with credit?
Definitely.
Okay.
I love leveraging credit with real estate. But again, I'll say this, you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to. because
So
like
don't
I
just
said-
jump in with a credit card, try to buy
Yeah,
property
because you
without the
understand,
back.
you're dealing with someone else's money now. It's
Mhm.
not your money, you're dealing with someone else's money, so you have to know how to leverage the money properly in a
Okay.
timely fashion too as well. So like I said, for instance, I do a lot of flipping properties.
So you,
Right.
oh, okay, so you go in, you get houses, invest in them,
Mhm.
fix them up to sell them for a profit?
Definitely rehab, and I do my whole 9 yard. And I love doing it because I'm one of those guys that love taking something ugly and
Mhm.
creating it into something like a masterpiece. So when I look at things like that, I'll leverage credit. Like, say for instance, I'll walk into a bank, you have some banks, to be honest with you, totally honest with you,
Yeah.
banks don't like lending money to help people start businesses. But banks will lend money to help you fund a real estate deal.
Oh, wow,
They will,
really?
because they're not, they're not basically putting all their eggs in one basket with you. It's the property, that's why there's an estimate out there, there's an estimate out there, they have to check the property, see if it's worth the value and what you're trying to sell it for or buy it for, whatever the case may be. So they're not leveraging on you, they're leveraging on the property itself.
So they're invested in the property.
So if anything was to go sour with that deal or anything of that nature, they still have the property to fall back on to actually sell it.
Got
or
it.
make a
Okay,
profit,
I mean, that makes
or to
sense.
recoup their money.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, leveraging the bank's money to actually buy real estate, you have to show one thing, you have to show that you have experience in real estate.
Okay.
If you can show them that you have a couple of flips under your belt, 10, 5, 15 flips under your belt,
Yeah.
you're showing that you actually can make a profit, turn a profit, they'll be more lenient to actually lending you the money to actually fund a real estate deal.
So does that work two ways? Like, okay, let's say maybe me, myself,
Mhm.
I'm new getting into this, but my team has had experience that they can bring to the table, or they're looking for me, myself, to have done prior flips
You know,
before?
it depends if you're the lender, if you're actually not lender, if you're the actual person that's actually going in for the loan. It's
Yeah.
not from a business standpoint.
Okay.
Most people, when I actually go fund a deal, I'm going in with my actual business.
Okay,
I'm not going in as an individual person.
yeah.
Going in my business, I'm like, hey, look, this is my business, I've done X amount of flips, I have
Mhm.
the knowledge in the flips, I can turn a profit, hey, can you lend me X amount of dollars?
You have a portfolio?
Yeah, definitely.
Something that
Keep
you
a portfolio,
present? Okay.
definitely, keep a portfolio, oh, this is the property, this is the margins, showing them, this is the demographics on the property, this is how much it's worth. If I turn the profit, this is how much money I'm gonna need to actually put into rehab.
Question, so is this we're in such a digital age, right?
Mhm, definitely.
Is this a physical portfolio, like here's it on paper, or are you sending them like a PDF or?
Some banks require PDF, it looks more old fashioned to come in with your portfolio.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah, but, some banks like that.
Okay.
When you're working with credit unions are, close-knit type of business, banks and things of that
Yeah.
nature. So it's better to come in with proposals, but sometimes mostly digital, you can send them digital copies of, hey,
Yeah.
this is the property, and this is what I'm looking to do, and things of that nature, and they'll be willing to actually lend you the money to actually purchase the property.
Okay, that makes sense.
Definitely, so, real estate, definitely the way you can actually, obtain a lot of financial freedom, by leveraging credit to actually.
How did you get into it?
Me personally, I actually stumbled into real estate. It wasn't something that I was actually looking to do. A friend of mine's father was in real estate, and I always tell him, man, like, why are you buying all these properties? What are you doing with them?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just buying them to build generational wealth, so I can leave something behind for my kids.
Go.
I'm like, okay, but how are you gonna do that? I'm young at the time, I
Yeah.
didn't know much. And he was telling me, I buy properties, and some properties I buy and I hold, some properties I buy and I sell. And I was like, man, you should teach me this, you really want to learn. He actually started teaching me little by little. I started actually going to these real estate deals with him and things like that, just sitting around, just being that one kid, just soaking up all the information, being a sponge. Then 9 years later, I'm like into real estate, and I own a whole real estate company, and I'm making millions of dollars from real estate.
So here's my question. So you made an interesting point that I've actually heard before.
Yeah.
So you said that there were some properties who he bought and sold, but then some he bought and he held.
Definitely.
So now, I feel like, at the end of the day, both of them can be lucrative, right?
Definitely,
Because
definitely.
by you buying them and holding on to them, now you have properties that maybe you can rent out. You made an interesting point when you talked about buying and selling versus buying and holding.
Definitely.
From my experience and just listening to people talk and trying to educate myself, both can be pretty lucrative. Do you feel like there's one that maybe outweighs the other when it comes to like if you're trying to really like make money and hit that $1 million status?
Definitely. If you're trying to hit $1 million status, buying and holding is definitely probably not the route for you.
Okay.
I don't do real estate the traditional way. Me personally, when I'm buying real estate, I'm buying real estate to build capital.
Okay.
I'm buying real estate to build capital. Why? Because I'm eventually trying to get into a bigger investment, which is apartment buildings, which I'm doing now.
They call me triplexes.
Triplexes and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
a lot of people buy and hold, and I'm not saying buy and hold is a bad thing. That might be your thing. But me actually buying and selling, flipping for profit is what I do. And I love it because you're building capital. Because we just talked about credit.
Mhm.
I like to actually put a lot of that money into the bank, and I leverage that money to
Okay,
actually
yeah.
get into a bigger investment property. Like I said, banks love real estate.
Yeah.
They love buying real estate. So if I was to actually put an amount of capital of $700,000 in capital, and I actually have that in a bank account, and I can actually go and leverage that $700,000 to buy a $2.5 million apartment building using the bank's money.
I get it. So to kind of like break it down, it's more so when you're thinking about buying and selling, you buy it $100,000, quote unquote, you sell it $200,000, now you've made $100,000 profit. So now you have that money in your bank, and that's when you're talking about capital. Versus when you buy it and you hold it, you bought it, you fixed it up, now it looks good, and now you're renting it out. So now that return on investment is more slower,
Definitely,
right?
because renting out is not a bad thing if you're trying to build generational wealth for a long
Okay,
time
because
period.
then you can kind of pass it
You
on.
can pass it on itself, but I'm doing it a way to where I'm trying to let a substantial amount of money back
I
to
get
my
it.
daughter.
Okay.
Something that, I like to call it indestructible wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Something that, if she doesn't have the knowledge to actually carry on, she can't just throw it.
Got it.
So one of those things, like I said before, you can buy a property, let's say for you buy a property for $100,000, and then now you want to rent this property out, you want to buy and hold. You know, the mortgage for that property is probably $700, and you're gonna rent that property out for $1,000.
Got it,
You
yeah.
know, you're making small margins, but you have to keep in mind, you have insurance, you have overhead and things, and then you have some
Repairs.
repairs and things of that
Yeah.
nature. So, it's a small return,
Got it.
but it's a consistent return.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want consistent.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
It depends on what you're looking for.
Definitely, what you're looking for. I'm one of those type of individuals. I buy properties, like I said before, I flip them, create capital, so I can get to a bigger deal. It's always about the bigger deal for me, always. The importance when it comes to building capital. My mind is always working on leverage. How can I leverage my own money?
Mhm.
And when it comes to the bank, I don't like building relationship with people. I like building relationship with banks,
Okay.
because they have all the money.
They do.
So go build a relationship with banks, because one thing about a bank, they, like I said before, they love real estate. And you have to learn how to build relationships with banks. And how do you build relationships with banks? You open up credit cards, you make a credit card payment sometimes, things of that nature. You actually leave money in there, because you have to understand, for every dollar that you put in
Okay.
a bank, they lend out $10.
Okay.
So it's a business.
Yeah, it is.
So if you can't beat them, join them. So that when it comes to capital, building capital, very, very important, because now when you want to actually make a bigger purchase when it comes to real estate, you can actually leverage the money that you have in the bank account without actually using it.
So do you feel like it's important to find one bank that you really you trust, that, I don't know, how do you say it? Like, when you go into a bank, you can always get a sense of, how they're gonna treat you, how they treat their customers, and things of that nature. Do you find it's best to build upon that and stick with one bank as you're moving through this growth process?
Absolutely not.
Not, okay.
You want to build as much relationships with as many banks as you possibly can.
Okay,
Reason being because at the end of the day, banks, they're in business to make money.
yeah.
And you have to understand, you never know what can actually transfer out within that banking system, or whatever the case may be.
Very true.
So they change their laws and regulations all the time. So you want to make sure you find several banks and build a relationship with several banks, to where at that bank denies you for a certain loan, or whatever the case may be, you can go to another
That's
bank.
how you leverage it.
And that's how you leverage it. You have to be in a position to where you're actually building a relationship with all these banks to do that, just to leverage the money. Because like I said before, you can put a certain amount of money or a certain amount of capital in the bank, and you leverage it without actually touching it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, because you have such a solid track record of when it comes to mentoring, teaching financial literacy, working in real estate,
Definitely.
how did you find a solid team to really help bring your visions? Because I'm gonna assume safely that you don't manage everything yourself. You have certain people in place to kind of help you delegate certain things. How's that process been?
I like that you bring that up, because building a strong team is everything.
It is.
Everything, especially when you're running multiple businesses. You have to have a solid team. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get a better team.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, because it's one of those things that I'd rather pay you to do something that you went to school for, that I know nothing about. My mentor, he's a billionaire now. We have to get familiar with moving out of the way.
Oh.
And that was one of my most difficult things I could do. I wanted to do everything. He said, in order for you, you're a millionaire now, but in order for you to become a billionaire, you have to master the act of moving out the way. Allow somebody
How
that
do
knows
you do
more.
that?
So it's difficult when you build a business from ground up, and it's your baby,
Mhm.
and it's like, now I have to turn this over to somebody else, and it's like, no, I don't want to do this. But you have to accept that this individual may know more than you when it
Yeah.
comes to running this business. And you have to allow them. It's just a gut feeling, you have to understand people. That's one of the biggest things, when you're understanding people.
Very
That's why
true.
most companies go through interview process to actually evaluate
Understand who you are.
who you are, who I'm dealing with. Are you capable of running my business for me? And that's one of the biggest things for me. It was difficult for me to move out the way and allow somebody else to actually run my business, and it cost me, because I tried to actually manage too many businesses at one time. I'm only one
So it was
person.
spread thin.
I was spread thin and started to see numbers in my business start to actually drop.
Yeah.
So, okay, hey, I have to hire somebody that's more knowledgeable. Not necessarily have to be more knowledgeable, but the body that actually knows what they're doing to actually take on that task for me.
So did you take that person and kind of coach them through how you were handling their position prior, or did you let them come in with their techniques?
Yes and no. So of course I like doing things my way,
Yeah.
but there's 100 ways to skin a cat. So I always tell people that, I want them to feel comfortable enough to work with me. I don't want to be one of those,
Micromanaging, yeah.
type of people just coming in. I want it done like this. But sometimes you have to put your foot down. Hey, you're doing this wrong. I think it's better if you do it this way. But I like to let people go with their own flow, things that need to bring their own twist to it, to where it can be something that probably help the business profit, march and grow. So I like to give them the freedom, but hover a little bit, hover just a little bit.
It's a learning experience.
It's a learning experience, but like I said before, that's one of those things it was difficult for me to do. And in order for me to get to that level that I want to get to, you have to master the act of moving out of the way.
I agree.
Definitely.
Very solid points you're making.
Definitely.
So let's talk about your book, the Financial Freedom book.
Definitely.
What led you to write this book? We talked a little bit about this, but really, like, in your heart, what made you think, I want to take this knowledge that I have and put it in this book to teach others?
Financial literacy is financial literacy is scarce, very scarce. 95% of our population are working paycheck to paycheck, or living paycheck to paycheck. I identify that there's a huge problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem. A lot of people might say, other things, but I look at financial literacy problem. A lot of people want to attain financial freedom, but just don't know how.
Very true.
I was one of those individuals. I was always looking at people like, man, how did you become successful? How do you become successful? One thing I'm not gonna always tell you about successful people, they're always willing to show you how they became successful.
It's a blessing. You just have to find the right people, right? It's
Yeah.
about connecting.
Finding the right people. So what led me to writing this book is as simple as that. I just identified that was an issue, a big one,
Yeah.
and I wanted to help as many people as possible. And I found like I'm only one person, but what if I create a book that's teaching you different ways to actually obtain financial freedom, and it can reach not hundreds, thousands, but millions of people, but in a book. But you have to read it.
You have to read it.
You
And
have
it's
to read it.
available now. Where can people get it?
Definitely on Amazon. My book's available on Amazon, all major platforms if you ask me. But it's definitely available on Amazon, and I'm excited about it because it's something that's really going to change people's life because I go into depth. I give very informative information. Not only give you the information, I
Yeah.
actually show you how to actually do it.
Oh, wow. So you walked them through the
I
process.
walk them through the process with everything that I've actually done that actually brought me success.
Mhm.
I actually put it in the book itself.
And I know you also talked about like mentoring. So do you have like what do you have that's available for people? Like if they're watching this now and they're like, I would really like to sit down with him, or I'd like to learn from him. Like, do you have like somewhere where people can like apply for like consultation? Like how are you reachable?
Definitely. Try not to be reachable.
Okay.
But no, definitely reachable, man. I started the Financial Freedom Mentorship, Financial Freedom Millionaire Mentorship.
Oh, wow.
And in that mentorship, what I'm doing is teaching people, the first step of the mindset of actually getting to their first million. Not only that, my second round will be the Financial Freedom Billionaire Mentorship. And although I'm not a billionaire yet, I'm on track to obtain $1 billion. You have to speak things into existence.
Yes.
You have
Mindset
to.
is everything.
Mindset is everything. So definitely, I actually started this course, and I'm glad it's launching in the next 2 months now.
Okay.
I'll be launching in the next 2 months, and I'm pretty excited about it. And that's in correlation with my book, the Financial Freedom book, the Financial Freedom Millionaire Mentorship. So definitely, I have that ready for you guys and ready to go.
Question. So when we talk about financial literacy, how young do you think we should start instilling this in our youth? Like you have a daughter, right? So
Yes.
when did you start like feeding her in more information and helping her to explore different options besides the systemic 9 to 5? Like, do you teach her about entrepreneurship on a larger scale?
I started teaching her as soon as she left the womb. I was like
Okay.
whispering in her ear, "You want to be successful."
I love it.
The thing about it is,
That's so important.
I did it,
Mhm.
and it resonated, and I can tell. Like my daughter's 4 years old. She can tell you what credit is. She can tell you what an asset is. She can tell you what a liability is. She can tell you. You're extra right now, baby. Are you going to sell candy or
I
buy
love
candy?
it.
She'll tell you she's going to sell
Sell,
candy.
mhm.
Why are you going to sell candy?
Yeah.
Because I want to make money. Or when you make your money, what are you going to do with it?
Mhm.
She said, I'm going to invest it in assets or liabilities. She'll tell you in assets. And she's
It's a
a
beautiful
4-year-old.
thing.
She's
Wow.
4. She's been doing this since she was 3. So,
Yeah.
so I've been teaching her this because one thing about me building this, I'm building this for her.
Mhm.
But I can pass all of this down to her.
But if she doesn't have the mindset.
If she does not have the mindset to keep this going,
Yeah.
it will all disintegrate right before her eyes. It's not the money that you're giving them, it's the knowledge that you're giving them. That's what generational wealth really is.
And they're never too young.
They're never too young to learn. They're never too young, absolutely not, never too young. So she's definitely on the track of becoming, you know, the next millionaire or billionaire because, you know, her nickname is Boss Lady Mia.
I love it.
I call it that for a reason because I want her to understand that she is a boss. I want her to understand that, you know, this is the path that I would love for you to go in. But, you know, if she chooses to go a different route, I want her to understand ownership is the key, like I said before.
Ownership.
Entrepreneurship
Yeah.
is not for everybody.
It's not. It's
But ownership is. I really want everybody to experience ownership. You know, I
whether
would,
it's property.
anything of that nature,
Yeah.
anything that is you can consider yours, is something that I would really
So you
want
on your own.
on your own. You have to. Entrepreneur, like I said, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody, but ownership is.
I agree. I've never heard it said that way, but you make a very valid point.
Definitely not.
So now we talked about credit. We talked about investing in real estate. One thing that's often missed is taxes.
Taxes.
Because now you're making all this money. How much are you supposed to be paying back? How much attention are you supposed to be paying to that? So that, you know, you're not going 3-4 years without filing your taxes and then now you're setting up payment plans.
Uncle Sam. Let me tell you one thing. My mentor told me. He said, if you ever want to become rich and successful or anything, or you just become rich, you have to understand how taxes work. That's it. Because taxes is your single largest debt.
I agree.
It's your single largest debt.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about taxes, you know, I tell a lot of people, there's always ways around, you know, not avoid paying taxes, I mean tax evasion, but there's always ways around paying less in taxes.
Okay.
You know, you have companies like Amazon that's making billions and billions of dollars and they're paying $0 in taxes, and people are wondering, how are they able to do that?
But they're doing it by the books.
They're doing it. You have to understand, you know, the government, like I said, systematic country. You know, anybody that's creating jobs, that's helping the economy grow, will get a bigger tax break.
That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, if you're a business owner, right? You're a business owner. You have a business, you're creating jobs for people. You know, why would I tax you on a higher percentage?
When you're helping to stimulate the economy.
You're helping to stimulate the economy. That's what it is. Real estate investors, we get a bigger tax break. Why? Because we're developers. We're building real estate. We're helping build homes, housing for people.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give them a bigger tax break.
That makes sense.
So it tells you, like either, you can just tell when it comes to the average individual, just on the way they talk, if they have a certain mindset when it comes to a 9-to-5 mindset, you know, if they're in a business mindset, self-employed, or they're in an investor mindset. The goal is always get to the big business investor mindset.
Yeah.
Because you're making more but doing less. You know, that's the thing. We're not in a race. I'm not in a competition with anybody. I'm in a race with time.
True.
That's it. That's my only enemy right now is time. So how much can I do in a short period of time when it comes to this? So when it comes to taxes, people have to understand, in order, if you want to achieve any type of success, you really have to understand how taxes, you know, the more money you make, you know, it can be a point to where you pay less in taxes. But you have some people, like I have a friend of mine, you know, she makes $120,000 a year, and she cries to me every year, and she tells me, I'm paying like $30,000 in taxes every year. I can't take this anymore. What do I do? What do I do? I say, start a business. I said, what do you mean? I say, start a business. Why? Because now you can legally write off your expenses.
Yeah.
She's like, that's it? Yes. You can legally write off your business expenses.
Yeah.
You know? And that's how you basically bridge the gap between things. Like I said, a lot of people just don't understand. You have to
It's the
understand.
knowledge.
So that's why I got into taxes now. I graduated with a minor in accounting and pushed myself to opening up tax offices, you know. And
So you have tax law?
I have 10 of them.
Okay.
I have 10 of them. So it's
See,
like.
we didn't get in depth on
We didn't
how
get
many
into that.
businesses you are. We're gonna get into that next.
We didn't get into. So I own 10 tax offices and I own a franchise which has probably 60 offices within that franchise.
Oh, wow.
You know, tax credit plus. You know, and then from that point, like I said before, on the CPA level, I just felt like I wasn't of justice. I wasn't helping enough people.
Yeah.
You know, I was making a lot of money, helping these rich people save a lot of money, but I just felt like I wasn't helping
Okay.
people. So I opened up these chains of tax offices and I just started helping people out mass. And not only am I basically filing the taxes for them, but I'm educating them on how to save money the next year, how to actually, what they can do to actually earn more money back from their taxes and things of that nature.
That's so important, because nowadays, you walk into a lot of offices and they're like, oh, give us your statements, and we'll get back to you.
No,
We're gonna do everything and then we'll get back to you. And then they may call you once or twice to ask you a question, but then it's kinda like, okay, we filed your taxes, the check is coming.
Definitely.
But there's that portion that's missing, which is the education.
Education.
And giving them like the proper resources and tools
Mhm.
to save money, to make more money.
Like I always say, taxes is more so 90% of information
Mm-hmm.
and 10% of data entry.
Yeah.
So when I'm actually typing away, putting your information in the system, I'm educating you in the process. And like I said before, I wanted that to be something that where I knew that I was helping somebody, and I was helping them not only save money, but educate them in the process to where they can pass that information along to someone else.
You're making an impact.
And that's just what it is. Each office that I own, I have credit repair in that office,
Okay.
taxes, of course, and anything that has to do with financial literacy. You have to do whatever it takes to get to the information.
Whatever it takes.
And once you get that information, apply it to your day-to-day life. You have to. That's the only way. If you're looking to obtain financial freedom, it will work for you. You have to do whatever it takes to get to the information. And once you get it, apply it to your day-to-day life. And that's what I speak
Even
about.
if it's a little bit at a time.
As long as you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. As long as you're going. And now I pride to know. Everyone tries to, they want that instant gratification. It doesn't come like that sometimes. Everyone's a white picket fence, they want their 40 acres and a mule and things of that nature, but it doesn't happen like that sometimes.
Takes time.
But now, in the direction the road's going, you're starting to see a lot of young millionaires becoming millionaires.
Yeah.
Social media, things of that nature. So you can't get caught up in the old ways of doing things. You have to, become a millionaire and adjust to
With the
certain
times,
things.
yeah.
Adjust to what's going on. And that was something that was hard for me as well. Adjusting to social media, how powerful the social media platform is. And how it allows you to meet people that you don't even know and educate people in the process as well. If you can't write a book, you can get on social media and talk freely.
Yeah.
Engage with other people and things like that. So that's one of the gems I always leave. But when it comes to me, I always try to get people to understand they can be mentorship and coaching people and things like that. I love doing it because like I said before, I love helping people.
Mhm.
And not only that, I like to put people in better positions when it comes to financial literacy and things like that, so they can actually pass that on to their kids and build generational wealth. So I always tell myself, I'm building something that's way bigger than I am. And that's always, I'm building something way bigger than I am, and something of such magnitude that when I look back at it, I'm like, wow, look what I've done.
Persistency,
And that's it.
consistency, mindset.
Mindset. And like I said before, in my book, the first chapter is mindset. Because no matter who you are or what walks of life you're coming from, if you're not in the right mindset, obtaining financial freedom or any type of success won't happen for you.
So we can talk about this all day, but if I'm not mentally ready to take the information you're giving to me and apply it, then it's kind of like,
It's not gonna happen for you.
yeah.
So that's why I started the chapter off with the first chapter was mindset. Because the information I'm giving in this book is very informative. And I want you to be in the right mindset in order for you to take in the information.
Of
Yes,
course,
sir.
reading.
Oh man, I can't wait to read it. Let me know how it is.
I will absolutely.
Definitely. So
So the Financial Freedom book is available
on
Amazon.
People can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Melik Monal.
I was gonna say, how can people find you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, any social media platform. I'm Melik Monal, and you can actually engage with me. And I'm looking forward to actually meeting a lot of you people and helping you guys get to financial freedom, because that's my goal. I feel like that was my calling, to help people
Yeah.
get to financial freedom. That's my calling. So definitely something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm loving it. Loving every minute of it. So now, man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so
Definitely,
much for,
definitely.
for giving me your time,
Definitely.
for coming and dropping these gems, schooling us. We touched on so much.
Definitely, we did.
I will definitely be watching this interview back probably a few times.
Definitely.
I just want to say, thank you for coming out. Thank you for taking your time. We'll definitely be in contact after this.
Definitely.
And you guys, if you're really serious about taking your life in general to that next level, financial freedom, financial literacy, definitely make sure you stay tuned to what he has coming, what is currently in the works, and don't be afraid to reach out to him.
I don't bite. Definitely.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Level Up with OC, and we're signing out.
Yep.
Yeah.